seemingly as a response to the overconsumption topic that has been widely covered by myself and other YouTubers alike. Well, Underconsumption-Core is now trending on TikTok. We've seen how people can be gluttonous with their consumption, from buying every single color of the Stanley cup because apparently the yellow Stanley makes Diet Coke taste crispier and the blue one makes water taste like the nut of Christ. The same people even waiting on their little tippy toes for the Olivia Rodrigo edition. The Stanley isn't gonna taste like deja vu, baby. Even as far as to seeing those restocking of 10 mini fridge videos that goes absolutely overboard for the sake of being trendy and aesthetic for social media. I promise Jensen, Jimmy, Jennifer, Jason, Jane, Joan, Jay can eat and drink the same from the family fridge. But branding underconsumption as this thing that isn't present in the everyday life of the everyday person is laughable at best. It's not a TikTok trend to be a normal person and have a normal amount of shoes that you wear on rotation. It is not normal having an entire closet dedicated to foot prisons. We really used to be a society and be bewildered by the celebrity and influencer culture that boasts constantly having more and more and more, because apparently an entire room full of shoes just isn't enough. You can't wear the same Louboutins on repeat. I forgot, sorry. Underconsumption isn't really even much of a truthful term either, because it's called having no disposable income core. What's the one thing people have in common who overconsume? Money. What about those who quote unquote underconsume? No money to overconsume. Underconsumption core, and yet it's people who are blatant overconsumers parodying themselves because they're always in the state of needing, wanting more and more and more. And there'd be nothing wrong with that if it wasn't for the fact that most overconsumers who fall over the overconsumption label tend to be trend hoppers. These very same people are so quick to trash or flood already overwhelmed thrifts with their regrettable purchases. Once TikTok has told them that they need to be interested in something else because that last week's trend is embarrassing to still be participating in. I mean, it's just the fact that you're still goth and not dark vampiric whimsy goth. It's literally Sunday the 21st of July 2024, 3 p.m. Edgar Allan Poe would spit on you. But don't worry, because you'll definitely find dark vampiric whimsy goth at the thrifts next week. The girlies don't like it anymore. The underconsumption TikTok trend is basically showing us that there's still normal people out there too who don't rely on a clock app to tell them what they should be buying every other minute. I mean, I don't know about you, but I too am still using up my moisturizers, toothpaste, and shampoos until it's dead and dry. And I really like the fact that this person shows they have reusable shopping bags that they've just accumulated over time, whether it be free or you don't want to get those paper bags because they're a waste of money and they break. As it's even come to a point where pretentious brands like Erewhon, who tout themselves as living this organic lifestyle. Oh my god, I literally can't find a parking spot at Erewhon because everyone wants to make TikToks here. But when I do it, it's fine.
Literally insane. You can't park. There's like 40 people waiting to take photos of their like Sophia Richie smoothie. I'm just like, you guys, it's a grocery store.
They also further profit from the aesthetics of what it'd be like to live humbly, yet will sell a tote bag to carry your little shiny apples picked at 3:33 in the morning, grown from Glossier Serum and Glow Recipe. I mean, just look at Balenciaga cosplaying the poor because they like the edge of being a little scuffed, but not actually living out the situations to cause that chic edge. Am I right, guys? guys, trauma. Oh, babes, what mental disorder did you have from being beat as a kid? Oh, you now have aversion to touch because you were essayed. Oh my God, that is so edgy. And see, if the target audiences of these tote bags wanted to authentically roleplay the classic minimum wage workers who get $6.25 per fortnight that has to be divvied up between them, their partner, and their 3 kids, and probably a dog named Barry, and hopefully just a little bit left over to go and buy a pack of smokes because every drag of those Winnie Blues are killing them slower than life itself. They could easily go into a supermarket and literally buy the tote bags, but I forgot it's not aesthetic enough. Those props won't go well for the Instagram feed. There is just this obsession amongst those who don't have to check the price twice of being in a constant state of want. I mean, what happens when there is a new Erewhon, a new brand that is portraying an aesthetic those with a lack of personality tend to gravitate most towards to? Because let's face it, there will always be a brand who is dropping the next low-income core to the wealthy people, and then these stupid hundreds of dollar tote bags collect dust and get replaced with the even more derelict looking bags to go onto Melrose with. But it's so normal in the minds of these people because underconsumption has never really been a thing on their radar before. And that, my friends, is why we are now seeing influencers trying to participate in this trend, which makes absolutely no sense to me because you have so much stuff, babe. You are just going to dig this back out of the bin. I'm gonna throw away all of my makeup that I have gotten from free PR in solidarity with you poor bitches. Which brings me to my next point. Not everything is supposed to be inclusive. I'm sorry. Underconsumption being a response to influencer and celebrity culture of constantly doing TikTok hauls with clothes that they're never gonna wear tomorrow or even next week or the week after, or even going as far as to going onto Depop and selling all of the free PR makeup that they have gotten over time, because these influencers must have a little bit of awareness of like, we don't need this much. Not that Underconsumption-Core should necessarily even be a TikTok trend, because it's kind of really like normal to not buy every single thing that you see at a TK Maxx or try so hard to be like your favorite wasteful influencer by doing a $300 clothing haul off of Shein, knowing you're not wearing that shit next week. So no, a 12 million follow TikTok account who frequently does makeup, beauty, clothing hauls every single other week has no place to be overshadowing those who live just above the poverty line. And with the Underconsumption-Core trend swinging its balls all over everybody's FYP, it was in general supposed to present a lifestyle of ethical consumerism, not going overboard with shit we don't need, as this overconsumption stuff in of itself is still so very new to us in the 2020s, as we literally have everything at our fingertips. Trends are going in and out almost weekly at this very moment, and those who have such an obsession with running so fast in the hamster wheel of being the most aesthetic as possible, we were only bound to see pushback on all of it. But people who are just under the poverty line have been blurring the lines of the underconsumption conversation. As we've already reiterated, it means to consciously consume. Wear the same shoes until you can't. Don't go buying 50 pairs of shoes next week just because you can. I can also spit in someone's face. Does it mean it's right? Probably not, unless they're a spit gooner. And what's so disgusting is these people who are living in the poverty line are now even getting hate because of showcasing the reality when it comes to being unable to over or underconsume. Get over yourself. Underconsumption is not about people trying to steal poverty culture. It's literally just not buying unnecessary things. Crazy that you are telling this to somebody who can't even afford a bed frame, doesn't even have the means for that. And that is exactly what this person is showcasing. They aren't buying unnecessary things, period. Like, period. And if anything, I I would be of the opinion that people who are living just under the poverty line are the true underconsumers because they have to be the most conscious of where their money is going. Hell, I can choose to underconsume. I still own the same shoes I had in 2017. I still have the same bed I had when I was a teenager, and I still have the same makeup brushes that I've used since 2016. It is quite literally normal to not get rid of things just because there are trends out there. It is normal to not get rid of things that aren't broken and that are still reusable. But even then, most of these underconsumption videos are still showcasing the fact that they do consume, just not on the level of final bosses of overconsumption on TikTok. Underconsumption-Core for many literally isn't just a TikTok trend for them, but what the middle lower class has been doing. Underconsumption as a 29-year-old who doesn't care about trends. This is pretty on the nose with the underconsumption term, as it is pretty risky using heavily out of date makeup. I mean, did I just see a modern Renaissance palette? I got rid of that years ago. That was giving me pink eye. It's almost wild to me how I'm not seeing a Morphe palette somewhere within the mix, and how that is a true testament of an under-consuming person. Because again, a lot of the TikToks that I've been seeing are pretty much still on trend when it comes to under-consumption. There's also another entire issue in of itself. People are getting insecure that they're over-consuming too much, but babes, that's just the final step in becoming more conscious of what you're consuming on a day-to-day basis. There are genuinely people out there that go shopping every single day. No, not for food, but for clothes, makeup, shoes, handbags, and it's just like, when does that cycle ever stop? That's right, it doesn't. Now, you're most certainly allowed to replace things that are of wear and tear or are broken, and feeling as though you can't due to the fear of not being an authentic underconsumer is just plain silly. It's as simple as that broken mug slicing your hand wide open, and now you have a bigger issue to deal with, and a more costly one at that, all because you didn't want to drop the $2 on a new mug because you want to be a true underconsumer. But I forgot as well, okay, I don't want to make people upset here, $2 does mean the entire world to some people, okay? $2 is an entire meal for a family for some people. And so with that information, I completely understand not even being able to afford a $2 mug. But now we're seeing overconsumption-core as a response to underconsumption-core, which was originally a response to overconsumption in general. What, my brain is literally dying. Like, you guys who are making this trend up in response to underconsumption kind of look like dickheads, right? And I don't want to be mean, but really? Do you guys need to be a part of literally everything? I mean, it's already ridiculous in of itself to have drawers, entire drawers dedicated to unopened products and multiple colors of the same lipsticks. And I've spoken about this quite recently, but I even had to pull my own ass up on myself because whilst I was out, I was looking at some makeup and I bought a lipstick color that I already had. When I got home, I looked at both of them and I'm like, I feel like a dumbass right now. And so to an extent, I think that people are going to overconsume in different facets of their life, whether it's constantly going shopping for products that you just don't need, whether it's dedicating an entire closet to shoes that you aren't even going to wear because you don't want to dirty up the shoes, which is just like, then why get them? But with all of that being said, everybody, the underconsumption thing is something that has been on my feeds for days now, and I really just had to talk about it because I find a little bit of it silly, of course, like with people who feel as though they can't replace a broken mug, all because they want to live that authentic underconsumption lifestyle, which, like, hats off to you, of course, but you can replace things. That is not overconsumption. This is overconsumption. This is overconsumption. You're fine. And then on top of that, overconsumption-core being a response to the underconsumption Underconsumption-Core, like, just go away, dude. So with all of that being said, everybody, thank you so much for joining me yet again in the yappening, and thank you for your stay at Yappersville today. Tell me what you think down in the comments section below. Are you an overconsumer or an underconsumer? Tell me all about it. Take care of yourselves, and most of all, love your fucking selves.